Hi everyone, it's Penny Black and Jill Foster here for another PB&J card class. And today's video is the first in a series of 4 videos featuring some of the adorable cute critter stamps from Penny Black's newest holiday release called Merry and Joy. And I've used a similar layout for all four cards, putting each critter inside of our new snowflake frames creative die. And this is the card that we will be creating today. I've been just itching to color this bear in his truck. And before we begin, I just wanted to mention I will have a full supply list at the very end of the video. So if you just hit pause up on screen, you'll see that supply list and you can check everything out in more detail. So the bear in the truck is from the transparent set called Carefree Christmas. And like I said, I have just been so excited to color this image. I think it just absolutely couldn't be cuter. If you love to color, this one is so much fun. You can color it different ways. So many ways you can make this look and design with it. And I have went ahead and pre-stamped this onto smooth cardstock using Memento Tuxedo Black ink because I am doing my coloring with Arteza Everblend markers. These are an alcohol-based marker, so that Memento ink works well with these. And the coloring that I'm doing, the techniques that I'm doing for this are the same type of techniques that I would do with any type of alcohol-based marker, um, like a Copic marker. And I'm keeping things very simple here. So I did not want my coloring to look almost overly shaded. I wanted the images to really shine and not spend too much time on shading. So for example, on this tree, I went ahead and colored it with a light green color, and I'm just adding in a little bit darker green along the sides. Now these Everblend markers, they do have 2 tips. They have a chisel tip and then just a nib tip. So I am not thinking of the right word for that. But anyways, so the chisel tip I used at the beginning there when I was covering a large area, and then I'm just using this smaller tip to shade in. So I went back with the lighter color and blended those together. Here on the star, I'm coloring with a lighter yellow, and then I'm just going to take a darker yellow and just outline right around the edges of the star. And then go back and just, I don't even know if I go back here. Yes, just go back with that. Nope, I didn't. I just outlined around the edge of the star. Sorry. And so you can see that you can just keep your shading very simple with these images and with these markers, and everything will come to life in the end and just look finished and beautiful. So for the bear, I just put a very light color down, adding just a touch of a light yellow to give them kind of a warm look, going back and blending with that lighter color. And then we'll move on to the mouse. Now all of the exact colors will be listed at the very end of the video in that supply list up on screen. So if you want to check those out, you can just hit pause. You can see on the mouse I colored with the lightest color, and I'm just going in with a little bit darker gray, adding shading to a couple of spots and going back and blending that out with the lightest color. Just grabbing some reds here. Now I went ahead and I'm just coloring in the entire truck with my lightest color of red. And you can see here, you could color this truck any color that you wanted. I love the red just for the Christmas time, but I also think it would look great in greens or blues, or you could customize it for someone that you know, or even like a minty color for a very vintage looking truck. That would be very fun too. You can see now in these different areas where I'm using the nib or I am using the chisel tip. And then I'll switch then just to get into these more detailed areas. Now you could very simply just stop here and leave this as all one solid color, and you can see it really looks nice. It really looks finished. There is enough detail in the artwork, in the illustration, that you do not have to worry about adding too much shading. But I like to color, I like to play around a little bit. So I'm just grabbing a little bit darker color here and adding it here and there throughout the image. Just very thin lines. But mostly just letting the image speak for itself. I am not so much worried about a light source or getting the shading exactly perfect, more about just adding some variation of color to the image so that it doesn't all look perfectly flat. So you don't need to feel stressed out when you're coloring on any of these. Just by adding some areas of light and dark, a touch of a curve here and there, it will just make that image just look a little bit more three-dimensional, a little bit more as if it has that curve, some curves to it. And just get a little bit here around the back. You can also, Google things like vintage truck, vintage Christmas image, and get some ideas too if you're looking to do some more exact shading or for some other color combination ideas. And just go to Google Images, and you may find a lot of other ideas and shading ideas that way as well. Now I am going to go back here and just slightly blend along those edges, just to smooth out that transition just a little bit. But I'm not too worried if it isn't completely faded from that dark to the light perfectly. I think some of that gives it just sort of a stylized look, which works well with this kind of image. It's meant to look whimsical. It doesn't need to look um, super realistic. So I'm just going to continue doing the coloring here and turn on a little Christmas music for you, and I will be back in just a bit. ahead and fussy cut out that image, and then I'm using a memento marker in the color of tuxedo black just to go around the edges of that image. It's actually a very easy image to cut out. I did cut out the area in the window of the truck using an X-Acto knife, but you could certainly skip that step if you wanted. Now I'm going to add this using our Snowflake Frames Creative Die. Now you'll notice when I put this together that I'll have a colored border and then the outer snowflake border. If you remove the inner snowflakes from your die but keep the other two pieces together and you run it through your die cutting machine, you can cut a small, like as you can see here, a small green frame that will perfectly fit on the inside. So this is a die set you may not want to completely take apart, just those little snowflakes from the inside. So I cut that from white cardstock and then also ran it through with some green cardstock, and I am just using some regular Scotch tape just to tape that inner green frame. Then I will do some inking to the background. This is smooth cardstock, and I am inking this with Memento ink using a jumbo sponge dauber. And I just wanted to add some blue to that sky. You can see here I can just tuck this critter right inside that frame. I love this snowflake frame because to me it just finishes this whole card off so easily. So if you love to just do some stamping and coloring and then want to easily put together some dynamic cards, this frame die works so well because you can just do a little inking and pop your image in there and your card is complete. Now my sentiment is the little Sending Joy from the Pine Cone Perch stamp set, and I've stamped and heat embossed that onto black cardstock. Now I did use an X-Acto knife just to cut a little bit under his hand there so that I could slide the sentiment there like he is holding it in his hand. So I'm just pulling that up a little bit there and behind my head. Sorry about that. And then I can go ahead and adhere that down. Now I'm going to put glue in the center, liquid glue, and then a couple of foam squares on each side just to give it a little bit more dimension. And I did put my frame down using dimensional adhesive and then added the truck inside with dimensional adhesive as well. And I just used a white gel pen to add a little few snowflakes up to the sky in the background, and the card is complete. So you can see how easy it is to create this using these super fun critter stamps and the snowflake frame die to finish everything off. It's so easy then to just make a scene and pop in your colored image to the inside of that frame die. I hope you enjoyed today's video and are inspired to give this a try. If you enjoyed the video, please be sure to give it a thumbs up and subscribe to our YouTube channel. You can also connect with Penny Black on Facebook, Pinterest, Instagram, Twitter, as well as our website and blog, and I will link all of those for you down in the YouTube description box below. Thank you so much for watching, and if you stay tuned here, up on screen will be the complete supply list.